Sarah Bond, in a new interview, triples down on the future of Xbox hardware, talks about the release of the Xbox handhelds and how they're doing overall, the demand for it. We have a big Halo story that has been going on. We have been hearing there have been issues at the studio, and somebody did leave, left a cryptic post on LinkedIn, and that has a lot of questions as to why this was the case. So we have some more information on that that's turned into misinformation and spread around as it usually does. So we will go over that. And also an update on the upcoming Dualsense V3. One of the features people thought was going to be there looks like it is not going to be there now when it does come out. But we'll get into all of that. Before we do, if you enjoy daily gaming news and content, hit the subscribe button, share the video, like it. Really does help get the channel out there. Also, go check out my videos on the Xbox ROG Ally X, as I will be doing more content on that. But for now, let's get into it. So the Xbox handhelds, the ROG Ally and the ROG Ally X, have been released, and there's been lots of people talking about it, having their hands on, lots of reviews specifically for the ROG Xbox Ally X that have been coming out that have been very positive. The lower end version have not been as positive, as it is being compared basically to a Steam Deck, and where does that kind of fit in the range of handhelds with the price and everything. So we'll see how that does continue to change as updates and things like that do come to the device. But overall, there has been a large demand for these handhelds, even at the high price point of $1,000. And Sarah Bond talks about this. She also talks about the pricing. How was the price set? It seems like it was on the Asus side of things that actually did end up setting the pricing for these handhelds. She says this: when it comes to the $600 Ally and the $1,000 Ally X, she says, we looked at how do we create multiple options for people. And it really was Asus, because this is their hardware. And she says here, that is all of their insight into the market, into the feature set, into what people want to determine the ultimate prices of these devices. So that is where the pricing does come in. $1,000 is a very steep price point. We also have all of the market stuff that's been going on. And you take a look at some of the prices of previous handhelds that were released, how they've actually gone up in price since they first originally did come out. So I think all that does play in here to the $1,000 price point. But the Z2 Extreme that is within the ROG Xbox Ally X, the price of that handheld actually falls directly in line with all of the other ones with that APU in it. So not too shocked overall that the price did come out at that, but it doesn't seem like it's had a huge effect on the sales. And that's kind of a theme that we do currently have right now within gaming online. There's people losing their minds about the prices of things. The real world reality is people are still buying these things, even at these crazy high prices. Like even with the whole Nintendo Switch 2, where everyone was complaining about the price, look how insanely good that sold. And that was only $450 comparatively to a $1,000 handheld that, yes, far more powerful, is going to be able to do, I think, much more than the Nintendo Switch 2. But a lot of people were pulling their hair out on the price of it, and it seems like it has been selling decently well here for the launch of it. At least we'll see if that does continue. Sarah Bond does say this, that when pre-orders opened in September, the reaction was overwhelming demand for the device. She said, we sold out on the Xbox store. We sold really quickly at a number of other places around the world. And I feel really good about the value that we're giving gamers for the price based off of the reception to the hardware. I did put out about an 18 minutes impressions video using this device for 48 hours, as that's when my shipment came in. I used it over the weekend, and it plays games great. It is a phenomenal device. Is it worth your money? You'll have to go and watch the review for that. I do have my thoughts overall as to who this would be for, whether you should weigh and stuff, but it is definitely very good for gaming, and I'm loving it. And more I use it, I like it more and more. She also says here about the pre-launch results that a real confirmation of something that we know and have been working towards for a really long time, which is gaming should act like all entertainment. It should be something you can have with you anywhere. You should be able to play any game you want with anyone you want on any device. And I like that sentiment. I know people will look at that and think this is, again, Xbox is dead, but I like the sentiment of having my Xbox games everywhere. Xbox Play Anywhere, games just loading up, the saves transfer with you. It's a very, very good experience within the ecosystem. Now, she talks a little bit more about those devices, but I think one of the big things here that people want to know about in this interview is she does also mention work on the next generation Xbox Magnus and more future hardware coming out from Xbox. It does sound like there's actually probably multiple devices in the works. I think there will be more partner devices. I don't think the Asus, Xbox, ROG, Ally, and Ally X are the last ones in the handheld space. There will probably be more partners out there. But she confirms here that the Xbox team is still hard at work on the next gen consoles, follow ups to the Series X and the Series S. She says this: "We are 100% looking at making things in the future. We have our next gen hardware in development. We've been looking at prototyping and designing. We have a partnership we've announced with AMD around it. So that is coming." So she, again, triples down now over the last 2 weeks or so, ever since the false fake rumors were made up that they had canceled hardware. Obviously is not true based off of what she is saying today. She says, "What we saw here was an opportunity to innovate in a new way and bring gamers another choice in addition to our next gen hardware. We are always listening to what players and creators want. When there is a demand for innovation, we're going to build it." So confirms again that there is next gen hardware. I'm pretty excited about the future of Xbox hardware and the future of Xbox in general, especially with this handheld that is now out, because you are getting that first look of your games, Xbox Play Anywhere, on the go, on a console, on a PC, on any screen. And we've already been experiencing that specifically with the cloud, but now we're seeing it natively. So I think that is going to be just a huge win going forward into the next gen, especially if they give us a very good at-home console when it does come on. And I feel like they will. I think it'll be pretty powerful. So that's just more info here from Sarah Bond and the future of Xbox. But despite what people say online, despite what all of the YouTube videos that come out on a daily basis recently, that Xbox is dead because they get tons of clicks, that is a lie. Xbox is not dead. It is continuing to move forward, and I think it's probably in a better spot than it has been in a while. Even if you're upset with them for some of their anti-consumer moves recently, which have been raising the price of Xbox Game Pass. Now, misinformation and things spread across the internet. We talked about this in a previous video. It's absurd, some of the stuff that has been happening. When we have another one here in regards to Halo, we're seeing headlines be spread out. They've all had to be updated now, but the damage is done. The damage, as I said, whenever there is fake information or misinformation that comes out about something that is happening at Xbox, a PlayStation, or Nintendo, in games journalism, they just print it. I don't believe, I could be wrong, but there's no real standard as to what they put out there for people to read. So they just print it, the headlines come out, and then if they update it, they'll do it after the fact, not really caring whether they should actually look into these claims as to whether they are true or not. And that is an issue, because I feel like once that original headline is printed, the damage is done. Even if you update it, no one's really reading that update. And this one comes here via Halo Studios. So they had a headline here that they were using generative AI and that was taking over the studio. Specifically, Rebs Gaming was the one that put this out. And he says, his original tweet in his video, "In my new video report, I review what information from my Halo Combat Evolved remake report was corroborated and discuss a rumored multiplayer project that I previously mentioned. What a credible source says about both projects, it's something I heard about the use of AI." And within this video, I guess it was taken out of context that Halo Studio was injecting generative AI into basically everything. Specifically, this article here, the Game Post, says that the insider says Halo Studios has generative AI woven into every aspect of its future game development, from core workflows to world building and enemy AI, which, I mean, obviously we want people to make games. AI can be used, I think, as a supplement. I've talked about it many times on this channel about some of the great things that AI could actually bring to games, but I don't think people want it in every single aspect of the game, because then you're just really taking away the heart and the core of it. So that would be a bad thing. And I could see Halo not being great if that was the case. So they printed that, but then we have an update here because they say, following his initial report, Rebs Gaming clarified that his comments were misinterpreted, noting that Halo Studios' use of generative AI appears closer to traditional procedural generation techniques long used in game development. So that's completely different. He says, "Many people are misinterpreting what I reported, as it directly confirms AI is being used in all the wrong ways and Halo is doomed," which, whenever there is a negative story, specifically, at least recently, surrounding Xbox. It's doom, it's dead, it's canceled, everything is done here. So it's not surprising. Since I did not report that, I have begun reaching out to sources to figure out specifics about how Halo Studios is using generative AI. Also, using AI in game development isn't new, but using it in negative ways is becoming an industry-wide issue. I'll talk about that in my next video. So he clarifies, but you also have Jez here who clarifies, and he says Halo is not using generative AI in its game development or art assets, etc. for its next game. Microsoft has no mandate on studios to use generative AI for games, and he says I'm sure it's being used for emails and shit like that, but they're not making a Gen AI game here. In response, Rebs reported that it was most likely procedural AI, but outlets ran with the generative AI thing because clicks. He says, yeah, and people retweet those viral tweets, etc. He also actually responds here to Rebs, who was was trying to clarify what he was saying. And he says, damage done already. And I agree with Jess here. The damage is done. And this has been a theme over the last number of weeks. I mean, you can just type in Xbox is dead on YouTube, and you can see nonstop videos that basically have misinformation as to what is actually happening. And this is just another case. Titles being printed, things going out that just aren't true. Misrepresentation, because Xbox dying and being dead right now, or just really negative things happening, it's very popular. So I think we will continue to see this. For how long, who knows? But if you were worried about that issue, that does not actually seem to be the case here, with generative AI being woven into every aspect of the next upcoming Halo game. And this comes just before we're about to get the announcement of more Halo stuff at the Halo World Championship. So the timing is very curious as to why these headlines and everything's happening now, because we're about to get a lot of hype here, I think, for Halo in the next week or so, as they do reveal, more than likely, my guess, it's not confirmed, but the Halo CE remake, and then some sort of multiplayer experience coming over to the Halo universe. As a massive Halo fan, I'm excited to seeing what both of those things are, if those are what they do show off. Finally, we have some PlayStation news here, just a smaller piece of news here, but the DualSense V3, the next upcoming PlayStation controller, there was a rumor that it would have a removable battery in it. That does not seem to be the case anymore. We have, again, this is a rumor, take it with a grain of salt, but it says here that despite the previous rumors that the DualSense V3 will have a removable battery, it has been debunked by tech reviewer and content creator Austin Evans. In his latest video, the content creator looked at the latest PlayStation 5 Pro SKU, which was rumored to be bundled with the new DualSense V3 controller dubbed V3. And the latest version of the controller certainly does not include a removable battery, although it is a different battery from those used in previous controllers. So that's another rumor that has been debunked here. I've talked about the controller side of things when it comes to batteries. I actually like the removable controllers or the removable batteries in the controller, because if you're playing a game, having to get a cable, plug it in, charge your controller, especially if you're sitting back on a couch, I've always found extremely annoying. And you never have a cable long enough to be able to actually sit back on the couch if you have a big screen TV in front of you to continue to play and charge that controller. So I actually don't like that. I don't mind going to get those AA batteries that are still what is used within the Xbox controllers, so that I'm back up and running and playing wirelessly right away. So I'm hoping that the next PlayStation controller, the V3 or whatever comes with the next gen, maybe they do go to removable. I would actually be okay with that. Doubtful, but we will see. I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.